Hello, this is Mr. Scrinjar, Intervention Specialist at the Utica Shale Academy, and today we have another instructional video in the American history. We are looking at lesson Unit 5, Founding Documents, Northwest Ordinance. Within the provided material, we start off with the content statement, which reads, "The Northwest Ordinance elaborates on the rights and the role of people in building the foundations of the American nation through its establishment of natural rights and setting up educational institutions." The content elaboration. The Northwest Ordinance provided the basis for temporary governance for the Northwest Territory and eventual entry of these states into the United States. The Northwest Ordinance established precedents that included 1. Public education, schools and a means of education to be encouraged, the establishment of civil liberties, religious liberty, right to trial by jury, writ of habeas corpus. Third, the prohibition of slavery, later included in the Constitution as the 13th Amendment, and state governments were to be Republican in structure. This provision was repeated in the U.S. Constitution. As we go through your lesson content material, you're also going to see that there is a video, 2 minutes and 49 seconds of the Northwest Ordinance. That's going to be, again, very helpful for looking into some of your questions throughout the answer section, or I'm sorry, the question section. As we look down, we also have some information here. It does tell you that Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio were all the states that were included in the Northwest Ordinance of 1787. The who, as you see right now, we have a who, when, where, what, why. The Northwest Ordinance. The who, Thomas Jefferson, Government of the United States under the Articles of Confederation. The when was done in 1787. Where, the Ohio Territory, which included the 5 states that I just stated. I'm sorry, the 6 states that I just stated. The what established how a territory becomes a state. Slavery was banned north of the Ohio River, established a free public education in the territories, established civil liberties in the state government. Why? Opened the door to Western expansion and established a mechanism of when a territory would become a state. It also helped further the growth of the country. As we scroll down, you're going to see a flow chart of the Northwest Ordinance of 1787. First, underneath there, you're going to see a law that established a Northwest Territory and formed a political system for the region. That breaks down into 3 areas that include land would be sold at public auction. When the territory reaches 5,000 free adult males, they can elect a state legislator. And then finally, when the territory reaches 60,000, they can draft a state constitution and apply to Congress to become a state. So those were all the things that broke down in 3 areas of the Northwest Ordinance of 1787. Okay, as you go through there, you're going to go ahead and then look at the questions that are found in this lesson. Gave a little bit more information. I've formed some key discussion points, key terms. So again, as you look through your questions, you're going to see that there is a flashcard system set in place where that you can practice your key terms throughout this lesson. The key terms include the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, which is a law that establishes a procedure for the admission of new states to the Union. Also with that is they provided for the creation and admission and new states on equal basis. And you're also going to see that, on that flashcard, no slavery in the old Northwest. There are grid patterns found, federal land sales, and public schools. Very key points of the Northwest Ordinance. Another flashcard, key term, natural rights, which are life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. You see the word educational, which means educational refers to providing education or relating to education. The next key term, civil liberties, constitutional freedoms. These are guaranteed to all citizens. Those are civil liberties. Key word would be guaranteed. Prohibition of slavery, which prohibition means the banning of slavery, and that means slavery would be restricted and there would be no slavery. Republican, a person advocating or supporting Republican government. The next key term is territory, an area or region or piece of land. And then the final key term is auction. Auction is a public sale in which property or items of merchandise are sold to the highest bidder. Okay, those are your flashcards. Again, you can play the game, the flashcard game. You can also review through them. Several ways to go ahead and get you knowledgeable with the key terms that are used throughout this and highlighted throughout this lesson. As we move on, some key discussion points also discuss what the Northwest Ordinance was passed under the Articles of Confederation. That's a very key point within this lesson. One state that was not part of the Northwest Ordinance was Pennsylvania. Out of the 6 states, Pennsylvania is not one of the 6 states within the Northwest Ordinance of 1787. Next, the expansion of slavery was prevented by the Northwest Ordinance. It's a very key point, and it's going to be very highlighted and repeated throughout this lesson, that the expansion of slavery was prevented by the Northwest Ordinance. As we move on, they give you a highlighted section of the Northwest Ordinance, and it's Section 9. Section 9 says, "So soon as there shall be 5,000 free male inhabitants, a full wage in the district upon giving proof thereof to the governor, they shall receive a thorn, what time and place to elect a representative from their counties or townships to represent them in the General Assembly." This constitutional principle is known as popular sovereignty. So what was being stated in Section 9 is that they're referring to the principle of popular sovereignty. A very key point. Next, states that were included, we had said before, were Ohio. Ohio is in 1803, Indiana in 1816, Illinois in 1818, Michigan 1837, Wisconsin 1848, and Minnesota 1858. That is the year of which each one of those states became a state. As we move on, we have, in order for the Northwest Ordinance to gain the territory written within this document, 4 states had to give up claims. So 4 states had to give up claim to the area. These 4 states were New York, Virginia, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. They had power in that region, and they actually had claim to the area, but they had to give that claim up so that these 6 new states could be entered in through the Northwest Ordinance. 4 critical areas of the Northwest Ordinance focus on the states of Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. Another key point with the Northwest Ordinance is slavery was prohibited in these territories. We've stated that before, and that's another key point. Like I said, it's going to be very repetitive. Slavery was prohibited, was banned in the Northwest Ordinance. As we move forward, it represented as the first organized territory of the United States, and it affected lands west of the Appalachian Mountains. Those are 4 key principles and points found within the Northwest Ordinance. The Northwest Ordinance is very important because it provided territorial growth and the admission of new states. So that's kind of like the purpose, and one of the big reasons why we had the Northwest Ordinance, because we needed territorial growth and the admission of new states. The Northwest Ordinance had a major lasting effect. And that's something that has to be highlighted here as well. This lasting effect would be that the Ohio River became a border between free and slave states. So you see is that the Ohio River, states above the Ohio River within the Northwest Ordinance had prohibition of slavery. Those states south of the Ohio River had a different policy, but the key of the Northwest Ordinance was that they prohibited slavery. There were 4 main provisions that the Northwest Ordinance focused on. One provision, again, prohibited slavery. Another provision created protection of civil liberties and public education. A third provision stated that each territory has an approved or appointed governor and council. And finally, the last provision stated that when the population reaches 5,000 residents, that they could elect their own representatives. These are very key discussion points that are found and can help you out when answering your questions for this lesson. Again, if you need any assistance, please contact me, Mr. Scrinjar, through the Remind app, and we can set up a tutoring appointment, or you could just ask a question concerning this lesson, and I can help you out as much as possible. So thank you very much, and hope to hear from you.